G'day ladies and gents, and welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator with Mags, and welcome back to Shepparton Airport. Now, despite the gap between this video and the last one, this flight took place immediately after the last one ended. It's now roughly 20 to 5 in the afternoon. We've put our beautiful biplane in the hangar and we've jumped into the Diamond DA62. Now, our target for this particular flight was to get to Canberra by about twilight or just before full sunset. I completely got my times out of track. Leaving at 20 to 5, there is no way known we'll be able to make that time. I'm going to run out of daylight about halfway through this flight. Now, if I'd done this flight in summer, we'd easily be able to make it. The days are long enough, we'd be able to make Canberra in daylight, but it wasn't going to happen. Not in winter like we are now. But anyways, it doesn't really matter. We've switched over to the Diamond DA62. It's a beautiful aircraft. It's got the full G1000 Garmin suite on board. Now, the main reason for flicking over for the DA62, apart from speed, which we need to kind of make this flight in any reasonable amount of time, was actually for that G1000 suite. We've got some bad weather reports around Canberra. It's likely going to be fairly heavily overcast over the city when we arrive, and there's going to be heavy cloud through the mountains we're going to have to cross on the way there. So, and cars on the runway. Just got to watch out for those. But yeah, we're probably going to have to go IFR for part of this flight. And while I absolutely adore the YFM, it's not really built for IFR flights. And cut off again. I love the fact that the Microsoft Flight Simulator puts traffic all over the runways, but sometimes it just does get in the bloody way. But anyways, just up to the right here, you'll see Deadmeat in the Microsoft Flight Simulator skin and his DA62. He'll be joining us again for this flight, although he won't be able to make it the whole way. We're only going to be able to get about halfway through the flight before he has to back out. And so he's going to peel off at about Albury, and we'll be continuing the rest of the flight on our own.
Traffic Med Air 069er is taxiing to runway 18. Yankee Sierra Hotel Tango Traffic Med Air 069er taking off runway 18, departing straight out.
Now, as you can see, I'm actually flying this in ultra wide, but I've downscaled it to 16:9 at the request of a few people that were watching last time. Let me know what you think. I get mixed feedback on this. A lot of people like the ultra wide content, especially in flight simulators and in Microsoft Flight Simulator, where it looks gorgeous. It's why I got the ultra wide monitor to begin with. But I also get a few complaints about it at the same time, because it's not 16:9 and it doesn't fit on a 1080p monitor or a 1080p phone. Although, who has a phone that's 16:9 anymore? I don't know. Anyways, lining up for takeoff here. Pretty much everything's all set. I had the aircraft pre-prepped. The DA62 is really easy to get itself all ready to rock and roll. The thing really is just a flying luxury car, like it's a Mercedes-Benz with wings, which actually isn't far from the truth. The engines in this, while they are modified by Diamond, there's the release, modified by Diamond specifically for this aircraft, they're actually based on a Mercedes-Benz 4-cylinder that they use in their road cars. So it's twin 4-cylinder diesel engines in this. Rotate. And there we go, we're up and away. Alright, so the actual flight path for this particular flight is 364 kilometres, almost direct. We're going from Shepparton to Canberra, but we are going via Albury in the middle. It's about 150 kilometres, give or take, to Albury, and the rest of the run on to hit Canberra. For sightseeing on this particular trip, we're not going to have a lot, but it's largely due to time of day and the fact that we're trying to get our way up towards Sydney as quickly as possible. So, from Shepparton to Albury is largely farmland, with the Murray River off our left wing. You'll see a little bit of that in some of the external shots coming up, and it's a flight over a rural area. There's nothing too much in the way of interest to see there. Once you get past Albury, the Albury to Canberra leg in daytime is actually really nice. There's two major national parks in there, the Namandidgi and the Woolloongabba National Parks. They're actually quite pretty and lead up into the hills, and there is a lot of small rivers and creeks and ravines that go all the way through these. So once you get past Albury, if it was daylight and clear weather, low altitude flying up through the hills and above all the treetops is actually really nice to do. However, low visibility or IFR flight at nighttime, low through those mountains, not such a great idea. So we're going to be skipping that for this trip.
Got eyes on you now.
You behind me, are you?
Nah, right in front of you. Off to your 2 o'clock-ish.
Oh, yep, I see. Speed on the new do and back it right up. Just off your left wing.
Yeah, I'm watching you.
I really want a mechanical trim wheel. But I'm not sure about the maintenance for the rest of the plane.
It's all composite fibre of some form or another.
It's likely mostly carbon fibre with a with just standard aviation grade plastics for most of it, with a light aluminium frame. The internal, that'll be just fabric printed. Lots of leather. Lots of leather. There's coming more than a few cows sacrifice themselves to fly.
In one shape or form or another.
Hey,
gotta have both engines to lift my burger butt.
I just like the redundancy. This thing really is just a flying Mercedes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Surprised it hasn't got a normal stereo and a CD player up front, to be perfectly honest. looks like we made it to Albury before sunset at least, so you're going to have a twilight landing.
Although when I drop down,
Yeah, she'll
by
be
the time
dark.
we get there, it'll be getting dark.
You know, you'll still have some light. You'll be twilight. I'll definitely be an after dark landing by the time I've got through to Canberra, though.
Well, that's probably for the best. That'll give you some footage of night
Yeah.
landing in Canberra, which I don't know if you got that, did you? Any
No, I only
night
did
footage?
daytime last time. I only did daytime on the last flyover. And the next leg will be up through Sydney, Brisbane. Sydney I definitely want to see in daylight because I've got the new,
Max.
yeah, the Orbex, let's fix Sydney and actually put a fucking bridge in it.
Yeah.
They're a professional rework. And I've got the rework of Brisbane as well, because if Orbex has a Adelaide, a Sydney and a Brisbane rework for the moment. So I've got the Brisbane rework as well. And then once I've done Brisbane, it'll be a beeline straight north through some of the more obscure fields to get up the northern tip of Queensland, and then pop over to Papua New Guinea, and then into Indonesia, head for Jakarta, and then I'll start looking for islands to hop to get up into Taiwan. I'll have to skirt the southern edge of China. Pop into South Korea, and then jump from South Korea across to Japan, I think will be the way I go. I'll do some fly up through Japan, and then I'll have to pop back over again into Russia, get right up around the northern tip, and then jump to Alaska. I reckon that's going to be my path.
Descending now.
Yep. I'm going to follow you down a bit.
So that's the general way I'm actually planning on getting around the Pacific and jumping over to North America, although I don't think I'm actually going to use that route now. I've been looking at maps and I'm thinking about actually jumping off from Brisbane with a long-range aircraft and heading into the Pacific Islands, heading in around Vanuatu, Fiji, doing a bit of a loop through those islands, and then coming back to Papua New Guinea and following that path around. Those islands are not going to be visited on this loop unless I do it now, as we're going to be going the other way around the world, and we're not going to jump past Australia when it's going to be the end point. So, yeah, I'm thinking about doing that one first. But we enjoy a few beautiful shots here of Albury from the air. Pretty accurate to what it is in real life too, just quietly. Now, the low-level cloud cover here looks like it would be ideal for flying at this altitude, but we are going to have a very bad time with it. You can see the sun is just creeping below the horizon here, and we've got another 200 odd kilometres to actually do. Now, we are good for IFR flight here, but as a general rule, even flying at night, I do like to keep visual. Unfortunately, that's not going to be an option. The low-level clouds here are going to get really tall really soon. Sunset flights in Microsoft Flight Simulator never fail to impress, but right there ahead we can start to see the problem. Canberra's built up in the mountains, so as we start to approach it, the cloud level's not only raising, but it's also getting thicker and denser, so we've got a very thick cloud layer that we're going to have to go through here. Now, we sort of don't have the option to just fly over it because, well, we've got to descend into Canberra, so we're going through that wall whether we like it or not. And while it's not really that much of an issue to fly through, it does lead to, especially flying at night, one of the more terrifying things that you can run into and encounter in Microsoft Flight Simulator. The big string of lights to our left here is actually the Hume Freeway. It's the main freeway between Melbourne and Sydney. Funnily enough, despite Canberra being the capital of Australia and it being built directly between Melbourne and Sydney, the Hume Freeway actually bypasses it. You have to take an exit in order to be able to get to the capital, because they built Canberra in such an awkward location that it just was not efficient to run a direct freeway to the capital and one from the capital to get to the next city. So there's a joke in there as well about how much Australians actually care about the capital and the politicians in it, but I'll leave that alone. So at this point, pretty much all of daylight is now gone. We're completely reliant on the G1000 to actually complete this flight, and this is where the eerie part starts happening. Notice the stars have gone. We couldn't see the cloud bank in the dark, but we're now inside of it, so the only light we have is coming off these screens. Now periodically the stars will pop back up again, and then you'll start seeing them blink out over and over as we hit the next cloud head. The Garmin screens here make it relatively easy to be able to fly in these conditions without too much of a problem. But I tell you what, I really wouldn't be interested in flying flying in these conditions with anything that didn't have a system like this. Or at least I wouldn't fly in conditions like this without a system like this by choice. Anyways, from here on in it's going to be me basically looking at the screens for the rest of the flight until we hit Canberra, and occasionally looking up to see the inky blackness just blot out all the stars in the sky as we hit our next cloud head. Now we got lucky. There is actually a big gap of clouds over Canberra, directly around Canberra, that was actually clear. Unfortunately, I missed the transition between flying in the black and suddenly being able to see the city.
Canberra Tower Med Air 069er is 13 miles southwest 6,100 feet with Yankee to land.
Med Air 069er Canberra Tower. QNH29er decimal 8 3-wind 027 at 5. Enter left downwind runway 17.
We actually got really lucky here. As you can see, there's sort of a ring of clouds around the city. This goes the entirety of the city, including behind us, forming a bit of a wall. It's all being lit up at the moment from the glow off the lights of the city itself, which is what's really cool. That's actually rolled into it. I love that. It's really cool. But yeah, we're lucky we got this clear spot. I wasn't really looking forward to doing a zero visibility landing. But thankfully we've got some clear air over the airport, so we'll be able to do a largely visual night landing, which is nice. Big ring of streets there, just off the left wing. The big circle in the centre of the city is, of course, where Parliament House is. Down. Alright, so a pretty straightforward landing there. We did a short final, picked up some gusts from the east that rocked us around a little bit, but we were able to put down just nice. Quick call up to ground as per normal, and we were directed around to the GA parking area just off the main terminal. So that was pretty much the end of the adventures for today. There was no point flying out of here at night time, and I didn't want to do a time adjustment. So the next flight out of here will be in the morning, and our destination will be Sydney. The objective is to get up there, do a little bit of a tour around, because as I mentioned previously, I do have the Orbex Sydney upgrade pack that puts the bridge in and fixes all of the terrain and the elevation issues that are around Sydney. Sydney really needed this overhaul, and it does look quite nice. So we're going to have a look at that. And then the next spot from there is Brisbane, and I'll have to make the choice at that point about whether or not we shoot over into the Pacific Islands or whether or not we just head straight into Southeast Asia. Anyways, ladies and gents, hope you enjoyed this one, and thank you very much for watching. Until next time, remember to click that like button if you did, share and subscribe if you want to see more, and as always, take care.